could not be a prettier night in the Bronx. It couldn't be a better matchup. Well, it's that old rivalry. It's the New York Yankees at home at Yankee Stadium taking on the Boston Red Sox on baseball night in America. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck. That's Harold Reynolds. That's Tom Verducci. Ken Rosenthal is somewhere back there down on the field. We can talk about the great pitching matchup. It's about as good as you're going to get between these two with John Lester for Boston, Masahiro Tanaka pitching for the New York Yankees. Start with you, sir. What are we about to see from this outstanding, awesome rookie for the Yankees?
Well, in half a season, I've already got him on that short list. Handful of pitchers. When they get the ball, there's a buzz before they throw the first pitch of the game. And here's why. It's that split-fingered fastball, which I think is one of the best pitches in the game already. The Red Sox saw it in April, but it's so good, I'm not sure the experience of seeing that pitch makes it any easier. You see his win total, 11 wins. That leads the major leagues. Now, rookies just don't come to the major leagues and lead the majors in wins. The last one to do it was Pete Alexander back in 1911.
You know what his nickname was?
It was Old Pete.
Old Pete.
But was he Old Pete as a rookie?
I don't know. Old Pete. Here's old Harold. Harold, we were going to talk about Mookie Betts, the kid, the 21-year-old getting called up for the Boston Red Sox. We're in New York. A guy named Mookie. It all fits together, but he's not in the lineup. Do you have anything you want to say, or are you done?
You threw a curveball at me. I mean, throw my notes out. I was ready for that. But no, we'll talk pitching matchup because Tom talked about Tanaka. John Lester, on the other hand, his last 6 outings, he's been phenomenal. Starting to get the ball in and out. Dominating hitters. You look at the record, 4-1 with 2.77. But I like the fact he's made some adjustments early in the year. Really wasn't able to command both sides of the plate. He's able to do that now. The one matchup I will watch, Derek Jeter. Talk about old. Turned 40. Sorry, Derek. 40. You're getting up there. 68 at-bats against Lester. So I want to see that matchup.
That means he's not going to watch the other matchups.
No.
It's going to be you and me. John Lester was a big reason why the Boston Red Sox won it all, especially with his performance in last year's World Series. He gets the ball tonight. They're the world champs last year. Here are the defending world champs right now. It's been frustrating. In the Bronx, in New York, taking on Jeter in his final year. The good matchup, Red Sox-Yankees, next on Fox. Nobody better as a rookie, not just this year, but in a long time. Masahiro Tanaka, 6'2", 205 pounds. He's only 25 years old. And there's so much to say about him. We'll get to it after we get through the lineup. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you got to live Moss. Here it is. Brock Holt leads it off in right. Daniel Nava up the number 2 spot. Then Dustin Pedroia struggling, hitting third. David Ortiz, the DH. Mike Napoli at first. Stephen Drew at short. Xander Bogaerts at third. Jackie Bradley Jr. in center. And David Ross does the catching because John Lester is on the mound tonight. And there are the numbers for Tanaka, who's actually coming off a loss. But he has been dominant, and guys, he single-handedly, at least on the mound, has kept this team floating so far this year.
Well, Tom hit it best in the open. This is must-see TV when he pitches.
It's a lot of pressure on Tanaka here on Baseball Night in America. He starts his night with a strike. Working with extra rest. Joe Girardi had a chance to bring him back on regular rest in the opener of this 3-game set last night. Instead, he stayed with Nuno. That worked. A 6-0 win. And he gets a little breather for Tanaka, strike 2.
Well, Tom, you talked about so much about his split, so I think we're in that count now. You want to take over and talk about your hero here?
Well, the problem is you get the 2 strikes on Tanaka. It's lights out. Hitters hit 132 on 2 strikes, and really predominantly it's because of that split.
Splitter grip, splitter pitch, ground ball to the right side. Roberts, one away. So Holt is retired. That's been no easy feat of late. He has been by far the most consistent hitter for the Red Sox since getting called up. And here's one of their hotter hitters. 3rd time up this year, Daniel Nava, and he's picked it up to the point where John Farrell has him now up in the number 2 spot.
Well, we had these guys, 2 weeks ago in Detroit, and he had just got back up, and his swing looked better then. He looked more comfortable. But he's the key to the outfield because they don't have any power in this outfield. They're looking for that production from him.
Pedroia on deck is Tanaka. Has thrown nothing but strikes.
Well, and you can see both Holt and Nava were in pure take mode on first pitch. As we go along, guys, and Harold, we'll see this, whether they're going to have to adjust that to stay away from the 2-strike counts and attack earlier.
Second time Tanaka's faced the Red Sox this year. A weak swing and a fly ball easy to left for Gardner. 2 out.
Well, you're right, Tom. I'm really interested in seeing how deep and how many guys are going to take that first pitch fastball, because you're going to get stuck with something like this. There's a good look at a little cut pitch that he threw, but he throws 2 different types of splits as well. You see if Pedroia waits around.
Ball looked like it was wedged between his middle finger and his ring finger.
Yeah, he grips it weird, different than most. It's almost like a forkball in a sense.
Here is Dustin Pedroia. He is taking the first pitch, and it's outside ball 1. What's wrong with Dustin Pedroia? He's tired of hearing that question. His OPS has been going down since 2011. He's battled hand and wrist issues the last 2 years. He maintains he's healthy. He rolls over to Jeter. We'll see him in the bottom half. Quick and easy go the Red Sox for Tanaka. A rookie rolling after a half. Here comes Lester. No score. sometimes you got to live Moss. Brett Gardner leads it off. Then it's Derek Jeter, Jacoby Ellsbury, Mark Teixeira, Carlos Beltran, now just the DH. Got a bone spur in his right elbow. Alfonso Soriano in right. McCann, Roberts, and Solarte, the bottom three against John Lester. You went through the numbers, Harold, during the open, but the last 6 starts have been outstanding. The Red Sox have not extended his deal, and he's kind of in limbo land right now.
Yeah, he's just got to pitch. I mean, that's the big thing for him with pending free agency. But you're right. He's turned it around the last 6 starts and really getting it going.
He's 12-6 in his career against the Yankees. 3rd best winning percentage for any Red Sox pitcher against New York. Ruth was number 1. Bill Lee number 2. So he's seen plenty of these guys, and it starts with Brett Gardner, who digs in, hitting .287. First pitch swinging, easy into center for Bradley. Hasn't made an error all year, and that continues, 1 away. Defensively, you know, Bradley Jr.'s in center. Holt is to his left, Nava to his right. Bogarts, Drew, Pedroia, Napoli around the infield with David Ross catching Lester, and that's how it's been and how it will stay. Derek Jeter will dig his way in, and Mookie Betts, 5'9", 156. That's how he's listed. A 21-year-old from AA to AAA, and now in the big leagues. Not in the lineup tonight, but on the active roster.
Yeah, I got a chance to see him before the game. He looks a little taller, believe it or not.
Maybe he's grown since
he's had a growth spurt. It was funny. I was joking with Dustin Pedroia. They have about a half dozen guys under 6 foot on that team. He said to Dustin, you could play power forward on this team if you put together a hoops team.
1 out, nobody on. A 1-0 pitch to Jeter is in for a strike.
All Rosenthal team, you know. Ken fits with these guys perfect. That's why he's down in the dugout. He was up in the booth. He couldn't be able to recognize all that. He'll get a shot later.
1 ball, 1 strike from Lester. That just missed the inside corner. Tied up Jeter. Ball 2.
Yeah, that's bread and butter right there. The cutter inside. John Lester really loves to work the ball on the glove side of the plate.
Set up away, and that comes back over, but low. Ball 3.
I just can't quit thinking about the fact that Derek's had 68 at bats against him. You know, so yeah, what are you looking for? What are you thinking he's going to do? Right here, it's a huge advantage to the hitter in this situation, particularly 3-1.
The 40-year-old Derek Jeter, tired of talking about his age. Full count. There are the numbers in the career of Derek Jeter. There are people and articles written, people who say and articles written about this series and this rivalry having lost its oomph, its luster. We talked to John Farrell, manager of the Red Sox, about that before the game as Jeter takes a 1-out walk. And when Jeter's gone next year, this rivalry will take on an even different look. And I thought what John Farrell said to you, Harold, was interesting with regard to why it just doesn't feel like it used to.
Yeah, he said the turnover of rosters, and it really has been a lot of turnover. And in particular, from 04 to 07, you know, those great rivalry times, you had guys that have been playing in this rivalry for 3, 4, 5 years. I also think that helps the fan base to be able to follow a guy. Jacoby's been in it. Now he's flipped sides. You know, so, but that loyalty to the fan base, I think, is what makes a rivalry really click.
That and putting hitters on their butt every once in a while, the way Roger Clemens and Pedro Martinez were known to do.
Did not hurt. They need a brawl.
1 on, 1 out. Ellsbury takes a strike from his former teammate. So Johnny Damon switched sides. Now Ellsbury has, and while Jacoby's in New York, hitting .286, 4 home runs, 21 stolen bases, second most in the American League, the Red Sox have not been able to fill the void he left in center.
Well, they really haven't. And you know, you think about a Boston Red Sox outfield. You got Jackie Bradley in center, Brock Holt in right, and Daniel Nava in left. And you go, where's the umph? Is that the Red Sox? Are you used to Jacoby in a Yankee uniform yet, Joe?
Not yet.
How about you, Tom?
Yeah, I actually am. Surprising he hasn't hit for more power in this ballpark, though.
Look at what the outfield has done with regard to its production while at the plate. The guys who've manned those 3 spots and where they are playing their home games at Fenway Park is just not something you expect to see, especially for a team that was as good as they were producing runs a year ago.
Well, you look at them, you know, everybody's kind of out of position in a sense. Of Brock Holt's an infielder. He's out and right. Jackie, they weren't sure what he was going to be able to do coming out of spring training. Tremendous defense. You can't deny that. And then Daniel Nava was a guy they never really projected in their group, and he came on the scene. So when you start looking at their draft and how they've come through the organization, I don't think they said these will be our outfielders in 2014 when we set the Red Sox club up.
And I don't think they saw Mookie Betts on the roster in the month of June.
Here's a 2-2. Full count. It was a walk to Jeter. It's Ellsbury now. It's Teixeira on deck. And while Tanaka threw only 7 pitches in the top of this inning, Lester has already had to work in the bottom half. This will be number 13. Jeter is running. Ellsbury grounds left side. Not hard hit. Tough play for Drew on a weird hop. 2 out.
That's a great call, Joe, because that was a weird hop. The ball, particularly with a broken bat, sometimes it'll have a weird spin to you. He had to break the cover with Jeter. You'll see him getting your picture. He's breaking the cover. The ball's hit back the other way. And watch it kick. That last hop spun and kicked right on him. Stayed with it. Made a nice play.
So with the runner going Jeter, he's at second with 2 out for Teixeira. We'll talk more about Drew and the decision to sign him in season. Move Xander Bogaerts over to third. So far that has not worked at all. The shift on the infield for the right-handed hitting Teixeira.
You saw Mike Napoli at first base. That's as far off as you will ever see a first baseman off the line. And he made sure he told John Lester before this pitch, make sure you get over there.
Wow. Well, one guy you can do this with is Teixeira. He's not running very well. He's had a little bit of an ankle injury already.
Foul tip off the toes the other night, so it does put stress on Napoli just to get to the bag on a normal ground ball to the left side, which is where they're loaded up defensively on the Boston infield.
Well, you make a routine ground ball a difficult one because now you're hitting a guy on the run. You know, so maybe I should be Troy Aikman Reynolds up here talking about it, because you're going to hit somebody on the run. You know, hanging out with Joe Buck. You know, Tom, you can be Troy.
Is that a 3-step drop or a 5-step drop?
Yeah, exactly.
2 balls, 1 strike to count on Teixeira, who's driven in 40. Jammed him a bit. Little flare out into shallow left. Going to get it as Drew, and the inning is over. A scoreless first at Yankee Stadium. A shot of the Brooklyn Bridge on a gorgeous night in New York. Red Sox Yankees, no score. Time now for our Lincoln Motor Company keys to the game, Tom.
Yeah, for Boston, stay away from those 2 strikes count. You're not going to beat Tanaka on the split. So hunt early fastballs in counts. And for the Yankees, they're so good playing from out front. 28-7 this year when they score first. That has a lot to do with that excellent bullpen they have.
David Ortiz first up, the DH, then Napoli, then Stephen Drew. They're the numbers for Ortiz. 18 home runs. Average is down. And the shift defensively on the infield for Ortiz, who is used to looking at that. Strike 1. Tanaka's worked at least 7 innings in 9 of his 15 starts. Comes in with an ERA of 2.11. He beat Boston 3rd week of April 9-3. Went 7 1/3 in that one. It's outside, a ball and a strike. Tanaka had won 5 straight, ERA under 1.5 until last Sunday when he lost here to the Orioles 8-zip. But as usual, he went 7. Allowed 3 runs. There's a strike, and it's 1-2.
You know, that's the difference, the equalizer right there for this guy. You see David Ortiz looking at this pitch going, wow, where was that? Because it's got such great movement. The umpire is going to be generous with the strike zone. He's around the plate. He's going to get some calls.
The only guy to catch Tanaka all year is the guy behind the plate, Brian McCann. Done a good job defensively in his first year with New York as the count evens at 2.
Yeah, and that previous pitch you talked about, Harold, that's the split that he'll throw in the zone. With no strikes or 1 strike, he can get that split called, and then with 2, the wipeout one will be in the dirt. Went back to slider here. No split.
Yeah.
Fouled away.
Well, he throws really, 5 different pitches, but he'll mix them up too. Like, he may throw a fastball 89, or he can get it up to 95 at different times. To me, that's 2 different pitches. You know, even though it's 1 signal, it may be 2 different balls that he's going to throw.
Highest velocity so far tonight, 92. Another 2-2. Just got a piece.
And keep your eye on that velocity too. That one at 93. I said that only because the last time out the fastball velocity was down a bit. When the Red Sox saw him in April, he was 93, 94. His last start more 90, 91, and had only 1 swing and miss off the fastball. Definitely looks stronger tonight than in his last start.
Yeah, I also think that's the deception of him. He gets in a jam, he can reach back and get it, and he'll pitch at 90 like you're talking about. And some people will see him on a certain night and go, he doesn't throw that hard. And then, bam, he'll drop one on you when he needs it.
Check swing and a foul.
If you're looking at their sequence, you know, every time that it seems like he has to pitch, he nods yes, goes into the windup, and McCann puts another finger down. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
He does have a lot of options.
Watch this. You see Tanaka. He looks in a little bit further. He's got the fastball. Okay, I'm going to go with 1.
The old fastball on 2-2 up and away, a full count.
See, that was 94. You know, that was I'm going to put you away at 94. He reached back for it a little extra.
Well, one thing the Yankees noticed when they scouted him, and they saw every one of his starts last year in Japan, according to the situation, he can dial it up. With runners on base or in 2-strike counts, you'll see more velocity.
First of the night. 120th of the season for Masahiro Tanaka.
Yeah, this looks like the slider backdoored him a little bit. The majority of his strikeouts on split. The next one would be the slider.
So now a shift to the right-handed hitter's pull side for the Yankees defensively, with Napoli digging in.
You see how far Teixeira's off the base. Back to the Aikman booth again.
And it's the Red Sox first baseman at the plate who doesn't run well. Napoli, he takes high, ball 1. You know, people get on Brian McCann, at least they have, because of the big contract, and his average is down this year. But think of what he's had to deal with. New league, new pitching staff, playing in New York, playing with that contract. Joe Girardi is happy and content with what he's getting so far out of McCann. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I mean, he works as hard as any catcher in between games. I'm talking about all the video study. In fact, when he signed with the Yankees, he basically went back and looked at all the starters' games from last year. The only problem with that is 60% of that rotation doesn't pitch for the Yankees right now. Sabathia, Nova, and Pineda. All that homework for naught.
Here's a 1-1. Strike 2. Sabathia is working tonight at Single A Tampa, which then begins that 30-day clock for him to get back to the big leagues. They're thinking 3 starts, which might put him back in the rotation if all goes well right after the All-Star break.
You know, and sometimes the guy needs a break. I know had a little bit of an injury, but it's a high fastball. But that little break in between, he's logged a lot of innings, a lot of pitches. And I remember what the Red Sox used to do with Pedro. They'd almost give him a vacation in the middle of the season. Oh, Pedro's on the DL. And it just refreshed him, revitalized him. And maybe that's going to happen with CeCe a little bit here, too.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Just outside a full count. Wow. Home plate umpire tonight, Andy Fletcher. He didn't bite on this, neither did Napoli, and just outside.
I love that as a hitter.
So the 3-2. Too far outside, a 1-out walk, and the first base runner of the night for the Red Sox.
See, and here's a product of the game you're playing within the game. He knows Napoli and Papi, the 2 guys with the thunder that can hurt you. And he knows Stephen Drew's not swinging the bat real well. So you saw him nibble. He tried to get a pitch on the black, didn't get it, came back with a breaking ball, no problem. I lost Napoli. You know, and sometimes we get caught up in, oh, he walked the guy, oh no. He's thinking situation. He's looking down the line, how do I get through this inning? And that's what's so, you don't win 24 games like this guy without understanding how you're going to navigate through a lineup.
Went 24-0 last year. Also had a save in Japan. 1 on, 1 out. Ball 1 to Drew.
It's amazing.
Say that again, Joe. Give it the proper emphasis. 24-0.
ERA 1.27 and a save.
Wow.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Drew out in front of it. The bottom line with Stephen Drew is he just can't catch up.
And Joe, you're absolutely right. And here's why he's got to look around the diamond. Look where the third baseman Solarte's playing him. I'm sorry, but take your hit, Stephen Drew. You can push the ball there. You're in the 2nd inning of a game. You got a runner on first base. Set up the inning. That's a base hit they're giving you. They're giving it to him.
That's upstairs, 2-1.
I'm with you. I mean, if you're Mark Teixeira and Mike Napoli, you don't mind that because you can go yard 30 times a year. But if you don't have that kind of thunder, like a Stephen Drew, it's almost as the defense is giving you an insult, saying you really don't use the whole field and you don't have 30 home run power.
I mean, I'm looking at even more Jeter's playing. This is not double play depth. Look at where he's at. There's only 1 out. I mean, force them to have to do something to make a reaction for you. Now you're saying I'm going to swing my way through this. And it's very difficult. They give you hits, you take them.
He's 7 for 52 since he re-signed on the 21st of May. Had to work his way back into shape. Went through a couple of stops in the minor leagues, but he has not been able to catch up to big league pitching here in June. The 2-2. 2 out. 2nd strikeout of the inning for Tanaka.
Well, I mean, it is hard to pick up. And the best way to explain this is that as you go through a season you pick up in June, everybody has gone through spring training. They've got their work. And now, by the time we get into the flow of the season, the pitchers are throwing the ball in the black. They're able to locate wherever they want. They're in full swing, and you're still trying to catch up. And, Tom, I think you put it best. He's in spring training, and everybody else is midseason.
Well, it's had really a cause and effect with this guy, Xander Bogaerts, because he was rolling at shortstop. People were saying, well, the next big star in baseball is going to be this power hitting, line drive hitting shortstop that can do everything, Xander Bogaerts. And the minute he switched to third base, his average went in the tank. And he had to switch because of the signing of Drew. That's on the outside corner, a ball and a strike.
And you could see it in his countenance when they signed Stephen Drew and he was doing interviews afterwards. You could tell, Tom, that he was hurt by that move.
Yeah, he actually had a bad game that very night at shortstop, made an error. Now, John Farrell, the manager, said he shook that off pretty well, but 6 for 63 recently coming into this game tells you he really hasn't gotten over it.
Well, plus there's some adjusting. I mean, it's his first big league year, too. His first time he's playing. So now you're asking him to play. You are a shortstop of the future. Oops, let's go to third base. Plus, figure out everybody as you navigate through your first season. It's a lot, no doubt.
Tanaka can strike out the side. Bogaerts out in front, stays alive. But when a guy like Bogaerts gets moved from shortstop to third base and then says shortstop will always be in my blood, my heart will always be at shortstop.
You haven't accepted it, right?
You know,
yeah.
He can't say anything. He's a kid. He's 21 years old. He's not going to start, not going to do a walkout.
You're right.
But he is in a position where he's kind of stuck over at third base. Just got a piece.
I want to bring this back too. Remember the walk to Napoli. The only time Tanaka's got hurt is long balls. Other than that, navigating, he knew what he was going to do with Stephen Drew. He knew he felt like he could get Bogaerts out. And then you look down at Jackie Bradley. That's why a lineup is so important that has depth. And once you get past Ortiz and Napoli, where is the thunder? There's not a lot of fear. So now he feels like he can navigate. He's about out of it.
Bogaerts would like to make him pay for that walk. He can't. Struck out the side. It started with Ortiz for the first out. Then Stephen Drew chased. And Bogaerts off balance after an inning and a half. No score at Yankee Stadium. Lincoln Motor Company. This is where a new conversation begins. And our conversation will shift to the upcoming All-Star Game on July 15th at Target Field in Minneapolis. Can't wait for that. get a chance to do that game with Harold Reynolds, Tom Verducci, Ken Rosenthal, and it will be a blast to see who gets the ball for each side to start the game. It would be Tanaka in the American League, but right now he's scheduled to work that final Sunday before the break. As Carlos Beltran pops it up on the infield, it's Pedroia right behind the bag, 1 out.
It's going to be fun, Joe, and you know the discussion as well, not who's going to start the All-Star game, will be Jose Abreu and Tanaka, who's the Rookie of the Year in the American League. I mean, look at Abreu's got 25 home runs. Tanaka's dealing. It's going to be fun. You get to see both those guys there.
Abreu went deep twice last night in a White Sox win in Toronto, and the White Sox won again today in Toronto. So the Yankees start the day just a game and a half out of first in the AL East. Here's Soriano, strike 1. That 85th All-Star game on Tuesday, July 15th, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Right here on Fox. Soriano hits a rocket foul, strike 2.
I remember as a kid, I couldn't wait to watch the All-Star game.
Who'd you grow up following? Individuals or a team up in the Northwest?
The individuals. You know, I mean, obviously, Rupert Jones and Bruce Botke were the guys for the Mariners, but I was more of a Giants kid when I was growing up. But the All-Star game was like, you know, I couldn't wait because we didn't have a game of the week. You know, you only had one game when I was growing up, so you got a chance to see Rod Carew in an All-Star game who wasn't going to be on Game of the Week. You know, that type of stuff.
And seeing matchups you otherwise would never see. Tom Seaver against Reggie Jackson. I always liked the white shoes. You ever notice that back in the day? Guys would break out the white shoes for the All-Star game.
The Big Red Machine. They all wore white shoes, and you saw guys in different uniforms. My man Steve Garvey. Who'd you like, Joe?
You know, come on. You're leading me down a path that haunts my life. Here's a foul left side.
Oh, there was a favorite Cardinal for you had to watch?
Probably Ozzie.
Yeah.
Lou Brock to Ozzie.
Yeah. Cool time. But the guys have brought back some flair to the All-Star game. How about the shoes now with all the different colors and the color that's brought into the game on the All-Star game? I think that's pretty cool.
My eyes still hurt from the ones that Harvey wore last year.
2-2 the count.
I think he plugged those in before he wore them.
I remember when Melky, when he was the MVP that year, and San Francisco had those big, bright orange ones. It's cool.
Playing Soriano to pull a 2-2 pitch. And he's way out in front again.
How do you get that ball in front, pull it into the other dugout?
Well, we talked about Lester loves to work the ball on the glove side. He's been there all day so far, and he's just going farther in on Soriano.
Lee.
And a strikeout for out number 2. First of the night for Lester.
That's a great call right there with David Ross. You got a guy, you threw, 3 cutters in, and he pulled them foul, and he had that one in the dugout. So throw him something breaking. Throw him an off-speed pitch. You know he's looking in. He's going to be late on that. It's a great pitch.
Lester 8-7 on the year with an ERA around 2.5, with David Ross behind the plate at 6 even with A.J. Pierzynski. Here's Brian McCann, homered off the left-hander Breslow last night. He's always hung in well against left-handed pitching. Takes strike 1.
Well, this is a case where I wouldn't be surprised if he does hit the ball the other way against the left-hander who likes to work the ball on that side of the plate. Got a hit there last night in that direction as well.
1-1.
Now the Red Sox might say, go ahead, take the single. In this ballpark with 2 outs, nobody on base, we'd be happy to leave you on first base instead of leaving the yard.
Rolls over right side, right at Pedroia on 2 hops. It's a 1-2-3 second for Lester after 2 in New York. Yankees and Red Sox no score. Back after this from your local Fox station. things you need to know about Masahiro Tanaka, 7th Japanese-born pitcher to pitch for the Yankees. His wife, a well-known singer and pop star in Japan. Real Big Things brought to you by Pepsi. Make it a real big summer with 3 new flavors of Pepsi made with real sugar. First up is Jackie Bradley Jr. hitting 209. Little better on this trip, and he shoots one into center. Back is Ellsbury, one away. And he had to run a mile to catch that about 405 feet away.
Well, we've been talking all along. He's been sitting over there going, they're not going to get me out with that first pitch with the split, so I'm jumping on the first pitch. Look what Tanaka's done the first time around through the order. Everything fastballs away and not in anybody's hit zone. Then he came back with Poppy, went away with the fastball, and Napoli a little bit of a trying to hit the outside, and then Drew with the breaking ball. Jackie Bradley went up there and said, forget that. If he throws me first pitch heater, I'm on it. And you saw it start to hang outside, right back over the middle. That's a great swing. Tough out, 408 feet away. You want to jog when you hit a ball that far, but not back to the dugout, Joe.
Not back to the dugout, especially when sitting in that dugout is Mookie Betts, who was just called up from AAA. Ken Rosenthal is with us, and I think everybody, Kenny, was surprised to find that Mookie Betts, called up from Pawtucket, was not in the lineup tonight. Why not?
Well, the Red Sox had their reasons, Joe, and John Farrell outlined them for us. One of them, of course, was Tanaka. Also, Mookie has played only 2 games in right field.
Here's a fly ball into left and gone. David Ross is homered with 1 out here in the 3rd inning. And Tanaka has now allowed 12 home runs on the year. A solo shot, and Ross has got his 4th. 1-0, Red Sox on top.
Well, Tom, what'd you say? One of the keys was to do what?
Go hunt early fastballs, especially again with the velocity at 91 rather than 93, 94. This fastball left up. That's been the story of Tanaka. You do have a chance against the fastball, especially to hit home runs off Tanaka.
Jump that.
Joe Girardi telling us before the game as Brock Holt stands in. He grounded out his first time. It almost takes an early run against Tanaka for Masahiro to say, okay, game on. That you got your run. I gave up the long ball, and now I'm going to shut you down the rest of the way. We'll see if that happens here tonight as Ross in there to catch Lester. Chips in with his 4th home run of the year and stopped Ken Rosenthal mid-sentence down in the dugout. We'll get back to Kenny after Holt does something with 1 out here in the 3rd.
Yeah, no, I think knowing what you want to do and have a game plan when you get to the plate. The split is so hard to hit because it looks like a fastball out of his hand. You got to make a split decision on if you're going to swing or not. And it disappears on you like that.
Well, I thought you made a great point, Harold, about those early count fastballs. Of course, Tanaka and Brian McCann, they know that's the approach of the opposing team. The key is make sure those fastballs are not in the hit zone. In other words, work the edges of the plate with that fastball early. A couple of times this inning, he's been too much in the middle of the plate or up.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. That's in for strike 2.
See, and that's frustrating. That's what's called pitching backwards. And what I mean by that is that's a fastball count, 2-1, to a hitter like Brock Holt, right? Then he throws a slider. And this is why he's so difficult to hit. He drops a breaking ball on you in a fastball count to a guy that's supposed to get a fastball to hit.
In the air to center, sending Jacoby Ellsbury back to his left. 2 out. Back to Ken Rosenthal, and the question was why Mookie Betts, just called up, is not in the starting lineup tonight.
Right, Joe. And as I was saying, Tanaka is one reason. The fact that Mookie has played only 2 games in right field, the position he'll play tomorrow night, is another. They want him to get some more balls out there, and they also want him to get acclimated. But I was talking to a Red Sox player before the game, and he had the same questions we did. He said, Mookie Betts doesn't know how good Tanaka is. Why not give him a shot? And for that matter, Tanaka doesn't know what to throw Mookie Betts. Guys, room for debate here.
With 2 out, nobody on, the batter will be Nava, who takes strike 1.
I'm going to take the side against John Farrell. I really believe when you call someone up, get them in the game immediately. I mean, you called him up because you believe that he could play at this level, whether it's Masahiro Tanaka on the mound or anybody. You know, to sit here and watch the game and maybe get a workout in right field before the game, I'd get him in the lineup right away.
He is not. Nava is in there. He's 0 for 2, but the Red Sox are on the board first tonight. David Ross goes deep into left against Tanaka, and after 2.5, 1-0, Boston out in front. And 1 hitters for the Yankees, down 1-0. Roberts, Solarte, and Gardner against John Lester, who has struck out 1, walked 1. That's it. As he misses down and in ball 1 to Brian Roberts, second baseman for New York, hitting .236. The 1-0. Left side from the hole. It's Drew. Can't make the play. And the leadoff man is on for New York.
Well, that's because Brian Roberts can run right there. He navigated that at bat. First he draws him in. He's looking to shoot this ball by the third baseman. He hooked it, but Drew knows he can run. And anytime you go backhand, you always want to try to catch that ball in the web. You saw it bounce up and hit him in the palm. That's going to be an error. But put pressure on the defense, and that's part of the product of the game. See, now I think, Joe and Tom, that should be an on-base percentage for Brian Roberts. You know, he gets penalized when we talk about on-base percentage.
Because you think his speed influenced the error.
No doubt. No doubt. That's part of his offense.
I think also Stephen Drew's rust had something to do with that error. He's an excellent fielding shortstop. Normally he makes that play fairly routinely.
But we can't deny that Roberts is on base. But he doesn't get an on-base percentage. It went down instead of going up. He's on base.
Here's Solarte. Second error committed by Stephen Drew since coming back. Lester finds strike 1.
Last night, 3rd inning, they bunted in the same situation to advance the runner. We were talking about that before the game.
Yeah, I was really surprised. Last night, it was Brett Gardner, your leadoff hitter. Here, it's your number 9 hitter. That was the first time the Yankees had a sacrifice bunt prior to the 7th inning at home this year.
Oh, ouch.
Got him.
Oh, my.
Hit by pitch. And Solarte will limp down to first base as this got him right on the top of the left shoe.
Woo.
With no bounce before it.
At least it got a little bit of his foot, didn't hit the toes where the corns are, you know.
Well, that obvious. I mean, you could just tell by his reaction, just firing the helmet off his head, and part of that situation over at third base with Kelly Johnson. Just finally broke out of an 0 for 28 slump. And it's 2 on with nobody out, painfully for Solarte.
Oh, man. Believe it or not, you can break your foot on that, man. That ball hit him hard.
So they're still looking at Solarte, and we give you our Lowe's Never Stop Improving pitcher profile. And look at the numbers for Jon Lester in his career on the road in the division. 8-3 here at the new Yankee Stadium was 1-0. Next door, Lowe's Never Stop Improving. Good at Camden Yards. And Baltimore's playing. And they just finished 5-4. Tampa Bay won. So the Orioles will stay a game out if the Yankees win here tonight. They'll be a game out of first in that tight AL East. Even the Red Sox are right in it, despite being 8 games under 500. 7.5 out at the moment.
Well, how do you want to play this, Harold? First and second with a guy who handles the bat real well.
Well, they're kind of anticipating the bunt. I think a lot off of last night. I think if Brett Gardner's going to bunt, you bunt it to third, obviously. But I think you bunt for a hit if you're going to bunt at all. But he's got infielders everywhere. I wouldn't mind seeing him swing even. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Takes it back from ball 1.
Gardner's just 2 for 12 lifetime against Lester. He runs so well that even on a sacrifice situation, he's going to put a lot of pressure on the pitcher and the corner infielders to field that ball cleanly and get rid of it on time.
Yeah, but watch where they're at already. Napoli's way in. You're going to see Bogaerts crash even more. I mean, even if he swung, you got guys so out of position right now. You put the ball in play, you can do a lot of things with it.
Pushes it toward Bogaerts. Foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And the key here, if you're going to bunt, you want to bunt it hard to the third baseman, make him field it. And the one thing you're looking at, if you're the hitter at the plate, you're looking at where's the shortstop at before the ball's pitched. Because he's going to tell you, if he takes off to his right, then that third baseman's going to crash. Right now where Drew is at, you bunt it to third. He's not going to get over there to beat that base runner.
Lester thought he had a strike with the first pitch, thought he had one there, and instead he's behind in the count 2-1.
That's a tough pitch to take.
Roberts on the error. Solarte hit by a pitch. And a 2-1 to Gardner.
Perfect.
Couldn't have rolled it out there any better, and just got the out at first as the runners advance to second and third on the sacrifice.
Well, it's perfect. And now what happens? You draw the infield in. But watch, see where the shortstop's at. He sets his angle, drops the ball perfectly, and moves him up. It's a great bunt. When you're bunting in this situation, you always want to see where the ball's going to hit in the dirt first. He sets himself in a position where you don't bunt behind the plate, you bunt in front of the plate, so it doesn't hit the plate and bounce foul. You keep it out in front. First thing the ball hits is going to be the dirt. It deadens it and also puts it in the right position. Great bunt. They're giving him a run. I thought they'd draw the infield in a little bit. They're all back.
Here's the first to Jeter. Inside a ball.
So what this tells me when I see the infield back like this early in the game is they feel like there's going to be some runs scored.
There haven't been many against Tanaka. Interesting that they are back. 1 ball, 1 strike on Jeter, who has just under 3,400 hits in his career. This season he's got 17 RBIs, and there are 2 sitting out there for him right now in the third.
You know, they want to give you 1, but they're not going to draw it in and give up 2. You know, they feel like they may not score, is what I should have said. To the Red Sox, that is.
Here's a 1-1. Laid off. 2-1.
You see Jon Lester here. He's in strikeout mode. Derek knows that he can use the big part of the field, the middle of the field with a ground ball. That's a run. For Lester, the idea is trying to punch him out. There's one thing Derek does not do. You won't see Jeter pop up to the infield more than once or twice a year. So you can pretty much rule out an infield pop-up. John Lester looking for the strikeout.
Just inside. Count goes to 3-1 with the left-handed hitting Ellsbury on deck. Ball hasn't left the infield yet in the inning, but the Yankees have a chance with a base hit to take their first lead of the night. 3-1. Left side will produce a run. Drew a wide throw and got him on his way to first. 2 out in a 1-1 game as Jeter gets RBI number 18.
Well, you've watched Drew get tested, but watch him when he fields the ball. He's going to look, maybe go to third and then come back to first. That's all about the rhythm of playing. You can make that look when you've been playing for quite a while, but right now he ends up with an erratic throw, and Stephen Drew's usually a guy that's right. You saw him hit the elbow right there with the tag, but he's usually on target. But I think that look to third, he thought about going to third base, and the game's just a little fast for him right now.
Yeah, things not happening on time for him. I thought it was a conservative decision, but the right decision.
No doubt.
To take care of that second out. Now John Lester can attack Ellsbury, try to get out of the inning.
Well, your defense was already set up saying, hey, we're going to concede 1 run. Let's get the out on a ground ball.
Here's Ellsbury. Runner at third, 2 out. Grounded out his first time up. Strike 1.
So, Joe, we were talking earlier when Jacoby was up. You and I kind of haven't got used to the Yankee thing yet, and Tom had. So why not you? I'm curious your thoughts of why you're not used to that uniform yet.
Well, this being the first time I've seen this team in person.
Yeah.
That's part of it. And then you consider what Ellsbury has been for the Red Sox over the years and the void that he left. Good signing for the Yankees, and he's off to a decent start. As he takes low, 1 ball, 1 strike, trying to put the Yankees on top.
There's the numbers we're talking about right there. He's a good-looking dude, though. He looked good in any uniform. But Tom, you know, sometimes guys go to a different uniform. And you go, man, I didn't know he didn't look that good. This guy's a good-looking dude.
A 1-1 pitch.
Pull it off.
Strike 2.
So, Tom, why you like him in the Yankees?
I'll tell you what, it's very unusual for me to see a real high-profile free agent come to New York and without that break-in period, you know, where a guy usually will struggle that first or second month in pinstripes, try to validate the money in the contract. He just kind of came in under the radar, even in spring training, and played well right away. It's been a very easy transition for him.
The 1-2. 2-2. Well, I mean, if nothing else, you look at the production for Ellsbury. Those numbers were a comparison of where he was on the 28th of June a year ago with Boston. Yankees cut a big piece out of their rival, the Boston Red Sox, when they brought Jacoby to the Bronx, and that's down and in just a bit. Lester getting frustrated with the calls of the home plate umpire Andy Fletcher, and the count's full.
Yeah, he was doing the 3rd out walk right there. He thought he had that one. Actually was trying to get that ball away from Ellsbury. You'll watch Ross reach back over the inside corner to get it. Sometimes that can influence the umpire.
Right. What was cool about that was I watched the whole infield moving with him. You know, from this vantage point where we have in the booth, you can see Pedroia getting ready to run off. Lester was going off.
Now full count, 3-2 pitch. This is Drew to his left, gets a true bounce and gets the out at first. The Yankees manufacture a run. To the disappointment of John Lester. It was an error that got it going. A hit batsman in there, a good bunt by Brett Gardner, and the RBI ground out by the captain Derek Jeter. After 3, tied at 1. or designate a driver and enjoy the great times. And by T-Mobile. Beautiful night in New York. We are in the Bronx in Yankee Stadium. First up for the Red Sox in a 1-1 game is Dustin Pedroia, grounded out his first time. Takes a breaking ball for a strike to start the fourth.
And you saw him start with a breaking ball right there, like you talked about, Joe. You know, he knew Pedroia would probably be looking fastball because that's how he started the game. That's the sign of a great pitcher, being able to mix it up.
That's fouled away, strike two. Had a chance to talk with Joe Girardi during the break. We'll play that for you after Pedroia does something to start this fourth inning. Ortiz will follow, then Mike Napoli. Joe Girardi, who was tired of the questions about regular rest as opposed to a little extra rest for Tanaka coming into the weekend. In his press conference here yesterday. That is fair and down the right field line. Soriano over to cut it off. And Pedroia's got a base hit. Here is Joe Girardi. First question was about Tanaka and that he's brought his good stuff to the park tonight.
Yeah, he does. They made him work a little bit in the second inning, but he had a quick inning and gave up the home run to Ross. But, you know, he's been down in the zone for the most part, and his split's been good.
You told us before the game, and now we're going to see if it's actually going to happen, where it's almost like something happens early with Tanaka, and then it's like game on.
Yeah.
And we'll see how he navigates the rest of these innings.
Yeah, he really seems to turn it up a notch. You know, if he gives up a run, it seems to really irritate him, and he turns it up a notch and is able, you know, has been able to shut down the other club pretty well so far this year.
You've seen a lot of great pitchers in your day, both from the corner of the dugout or from right behind home plate or standing there with a bat. Where is this guy's split in your mind?
Well, it's really, really good. It's as good as I've seen because he has two different ones. He has the strike split, and then he has the strikeout split where he can expand the zone and get it to go down. Sometimes it's going to go, you know, almost like a slider, so it's got really good movement.
Joe, thanks for the time.
Thanks, guys.
Joe Girardi's Yankees tied at 1. Leadoff man is on, and David Ortiz at the plate with an 0-1 count. Over but low, a ball and a strike. We welcome those of you watching the Nationals and the Cubs, a 2-2 game in the bottom of the fourth, raining there. We're in the top of the fourth inning, 1-1 game here with a matchup of Masahiro Tanaka and John Lester. Pitch number 49 from Tanaka. He is hit hard and into right. A rocket off the bat of David Ortiz. Digging to third is Dustin Pedroia as Soriano gets it back into the infield. A double for the Red Sox DH.
Tell you what, the game of inches we've talked about so much in baseball, not the pitch that I'm looking at, but more Soriano not cutting this ball off. This ball's hit. Watch Pedroia duck, almost knocks him down. Now, you know, it's first third. If he can cut this ball off right there, Ortiz is not going to second. Now you're first and third and a possible double play situation as opposed to second and third and a chance to open this inning wide up. And I did think for a minute, if that ball kicks off the wall, Pedroia is scoring. So if he could have cut that off, and I thought from our angle, I know it was hit hard, but it'd been great to see him cut that ball off.
So now second and third, nobody out for Napoli, who drew a walk his first time up. Strike one, inside corner.
I think what Tanaka does more than anything, he will test a hitter's patience. Try to get you to go right outside the zone. And the at-bat that Mike Napoli had in his first time up showed me nothing new about Mike Napoli. He's as disciplined a hitter as you will find, especially with 2 strikes.
RBI chance for Napoli. Nice block by McCann. Ball 1. In the 18 games since coming back from the disabled list on the 8th of June, Napoli is batting over 300. 4 home runs, 8 RBIs. Had a finger issue and is getting his swing back. We missed him. A run producer. He's got 30 RBIs, 9 home runs.
How about that company?
Greatest
Wears out
OPS
the Yankees.
against the Yankees with Ruth, Williams, and Miguel Cabrera. A chance here on 1-1. Strike two.
I almost have the feeling that if Ted Williams knew OPS meant anything back then, he would have said, all right, let me show you what I can do then.
You mean that he'd be even better?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, batting average was chasing 400 was the thing then, right? Now we chase on-base percentage. And there was times he probably expand the zone, maybe drive in a run, different things like that. He might have said, forget it. I want my OPS higher. He probably would have. Played a different game.
Here comes a 1-2 from Tanaka. Looking for a strikeout, and he got it. One away.
Well, as soon as I talked about the discipline of Mike Napoli, there's Tanaka again exploiting it. It starts out getting ahead on the count here. That's an excellent sinker on the inside part of the plate. That's just a 55-foot splitter. And now you're going to get Tanaka to get Napoli chased twice.
It's just hard to hit. I mean, it looks the same as the fastball coming in. And when you're able to throw that fastball that low and get the split at that same level, it's almost unhittable.
Well, now it's Stephen Drew in that spot in the order. From here on down, that's really struggling. Drew 7 out of 53 since coming back. Strike one.
And you can see Harold too with that split. He throws it harder than most people throw their split. So if you've got a splitter at 89 and you throw your two-seamer at 91, that's really camouflaged.
Well, Tom, you touched on it with Lester when Jeter was up, that he was thinking about, this is a strikeout. I got to go get a punch out. Now we're watching Tanaka, Joe, go through it right now.
Here's the 0-1. In for strike two.
There's just a little something different, huh?
Well, you could see him yelling at himself prior to the previous pitch. And what the Yankees have been so happy with, and to some degree surprised with, is how ultra competitive this guy is. He is tough. He's in a spot. He gave up the double to Ortiz. He struck out Napoli. And he's got 2 strikes on Stephen Drew. Two out.
Filthy.
That's the wipeout splitter. This is not designed to get in the zone. It's designed to get the chase, and he gets it from Stephen Drew.
Game-changing profile brought to you by T-Mobile. This is updated. Official sponsor is T-Mobile of Game Changers. And the strikeouts by pitch type up to 62 with that great splitter that Joe Girardi was just talking about. And here he is in a tight spot. He is showing you his best.
It's just awesome to watch. It really is.
Now Bogaerts struck out his first time. He's looking for a rescue 2-out hit. Strike one.
See, and I think the difference with the first, with Napoli and then Drew, it was, I need a strikeout. Now I can get you out in front, get a ground ball, get out of the inning. He pitches according to the situation of what he needs to do. This is pretty cool stuff.
That's Jeter. Tanaka just put on a clinic. Second and third, nobody out. Strikeout, ground out. Keeps it tied at 1 after 3.5. Here's Teixeira, popped up his first time. Tie game. Bottom of the fourth inning rolls in. 1-1 is the score. That hits the outside corner as they pitch the hitter Teixeira away, and the infield is playing him, I would say, to pull.
Golly. Look at how far Napoli is from first.
Way out in front. Strike two. Good pitch from Lester.
Well, Mark Teixeira is a guy who likes to make contact out in front of him. That's why you're a pull hitter, and that's why you swing and miss often as well.
Back away. Wasted on 0-2. We had a chance to visit with John Farrell, the outstanding manager of the Red Sox, during the break, and we'll give you that after Teixeira does something to start the inning. Struck him out. Lester gets his second of the game, and that was the topic for the first question. These two pitchers, John Farrell, have really been in a battle already tonight.
Yeah, I think just the last half inning or last inning in general shows a lot of high stress pitches, guys capable of making some big pitches in some key moments, and we had a golden opportunity obviously after David's double, but Tanaka he's putting up numbers not by mistake.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch you guys take batting practice because there were a lot of interested eyes watching Mookie Betts swing the bat in the cage. You haven't had a chance even to see him that much, have you?
No, we had him over in spring training a couple of times. He wasn't in Major League camp. He came over as a minor league player to fill in on a couple of occasions, but he's rocketed through the system so quick that he's here by his performance. And certainly by need, particularly with Shane Victorino having a little bit of a setback.
And maybe finally, you are going to have a lot of thought each and every day putting a lineup together, trying to fit all these pieces together, aren't you?
Well, you know what, Joe? It probably boils down to this. We got 5 guys for 4 positions, and Brock Holt's versatility really allows us to do that. He can play anywhere on the infield as well as all 3 outfield positions. So his versatility has allowed us to get Mookie here and ensure that we get at-bats for everybody.
Thanks, John. Good luck.
Okay, guys.
Talking about Mookie Betts, the 21-year-old called up from AAA. Not in the lineup tonight. He'll be in there tomorrow night against Whitley behind John Lackey in the finale of this set.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's going to be fun to watch him play.
And I see Brock Holt, who, by the way, is playing a very shallow right field there. And John Farrell told me when he talked about those 5 players for 4 spots, Brock Holt will be in one of those spots every day. It's not like he's going to be rotated out.
2-2 on Beltran.
And you saw the versatility there. He started every game, or at least that one game, in every outfield position and both corner infield positions. For a guy who's really naturally a middle infielder.
Those are the positions he hasn't played. Got under it. Shallow left. Nava didn't see it. He's got a long way to go, but he's there. And for good measure, Jackie Bradley Jr. was closing to help him out if he needed it. Look at the year for Holt since he's come up. He's played everywhere, it seems. Third base, first base, right field. This was last night on that ball over the wall and right. There he is at first base. He's been a leadoff hitter. There he is in left field against the Tigers. And his first game in center. Why not make a diving catch in left center?
I saw him before the game. And I said, you ever play the outfield? That's what I keep hearing. You never had? And he said, well, I played Rover in a softball game. That was it.
I swear I saw him after the game last night driving the team bus back to the hotel.
Here's a fly ball into left. Nava having a tough time finding it, but he's able to recover on the last 2 hitters. And so far, Lester's not given a hit through 4. 1-1 game. Good pitching matchup on Fox Sports, home of the 2014 All-Star Game. his worth every start, and in tight spots within every start as Jackie Bradley Jr. leads it off. Fly to center, his first time deep to center. He's changed his stance a little bit, opened up, closes in on the pitch, and he's been much better on this road trip. A 10-game trip for the Red Sox, where they're 2-6 so far, with tonight and tomorrow night to go. 1 ball, 1 strike. This is the way he hit earlier in his career in the minor leagues, and he's gone back to it.
Yeah, it's really the way he hit all the time growing up, and when he got to the big leagues last year and struggled, well, they changed him, and he went along with it and closed that stance. He's been much better with the open stance.
As he chops to Roberts. 1 away.
In terms of making contact, yeah, he strikes out way too much for a guy without a lot of power, but it's been better recently with the open stance.
Well, what happens is now you're not afraid to get beat on the fastball inside. So it allows you to be a little more patient and a little more just see how quick he can get the hips open now. As opposed when you're closed off, you always feel like I can't hit a fastball. And you always want to adjust fastball to off speed. It's a lot easier to hit that way.
David Ross proved he could hit a fastball last time up. Homered into left, his 4th home run of the year. For one of 3 Red Sox hits, the Yankees still looking for their first. Strike 1. And no first pitch fastball.
No. He learned his lesson, didn't he?
He seems surprised for some reason.
Tanaka struck out 5, his last 2 the biggest. With runners at second and third, nobody out last inning. Here's the 0-1. Breaking ball drops in for strike 2.
You see that? That was so interesting right there. That just shows the conversations that McCann and Tanaka have had in the past. Right there, he didn't even give a sign. He just nods his head, he looks at the hitter, and he nodded his head and said, hey, now this is the next pitch, obviously.
They had gone through a sequence of signs before time was called and just stuck with it. Rare curveball from Tanaka.
Just missed inside.
I still don't think we'll see anything like we saw last week with Gaddis and Tehran staring each other down.
No. Well, you don't see that tonight. Not with Ross and Lester, and not with McCann and Tanaka. Here's the 1-2. Reaching for it. Easy for Ellsbury. 2 out. How about last inning as we give you from Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball, the walk-off. Second and third, nobody out. Strikes out Napoli. Strikes out Drew. Gets Bogarts on a chopper to short. Great walk-offs are waiting at foxsports.com/Budweiser. Grab some buds as Tanaka walks off in a 1-1 game.
I love that sequence there. The way he was his own pitching coach. We saw the focus, talking to himself on the mound, the glove over the face. And oh, by the way, second and third, nothing but splitters in that entire sequence.
That drops in for strike 1 on Brock Holt.
He's tough to measure. And he throws them all for strikes. That's what's so difficult for a hitter.
Now the 0-1. Ball and a strike. Last year the Red Sox led baseball in runs per game. This year they're 26th. It's not just the lack of production from the outfield, but up and down this lineup, even the guys they count on year after year, Pedroia, Ortiz, their numbers are down. Here's a 1-1. That's ball 2.
Well, I know there's a thought out there that wherever you hit doesn't matter who all's in the lineup, but it does. You know, it affects one hitter to the next because you can pitch around guys to get the other hitters, and you don't get pitches to hit.
For the runs per game this year compared to last year when the Red Sox led baseball. That is off the glove of Soriano. Holt will dig for second as Soriano knocked it down enough to hold it to a double with 2 out here in the 5th.
Great effort, and he kept the ball in front of him. I thought right here, uh-oh, it's going to be 3.
So just off the edge of the glove, tracked it down. Holtz got a double, and now the batter will be Daniel Nava with a runner at second, 2 out here in the 5th.
Yeah, you saw he really didn't get a good break on that ball. His first step actually was to the side and not in. Not a lot of experience playing right field.
And I'm wondering if even if that ball, if he stays on his feet, that might shoot by him.
Red Sox so far 0 for 7 in this series, last night and tonight, with runners in scoring position. 2-out chance here for Nava. Ball 1 blocked by McCann. Weather couldn't be any more pleasant here on the 28th of June. Yankees 41 wins, Boston 36. Here's a 1-0. Ball and a strike as he sneaks a 92-mile-per-hour fastball in there on Daniel Nava.
You know what's funny is in today's game, when everybody's throwing 95 out of the bullpens, when somebody's throwing 92, you go, I'm not throwing that hard. Roger Clemens was a rocket because he threw 95, right? So that's how much the game has changed.
Here comes a 1-1 pitch. Out in front of it. Fouled outside first. Strike 2. And now Tanaka has Nava set up. What's it going to be as Nava is backed up on the count 1-2?
Well, you go by percentages, Joe. It's going to be the split. More than half of his 2-strike pitches to left-handed hitters is the split.
Slowly hit to Roberts as Tanaka pitches around the 2-out double by Holtz. On a beautiful night in New York, here in the Bronx, we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Yankees bat looking for their first hit. Tied at 1. new roads. Bottom of the 5th inning rolls in a 1-1 game. And the Yankees still looking for their first base hit of the night. That's the bottom 3 in the lineup. First up, McCann. Into right center, didn't get all of it, got under it a bit, and Jackie Bradley Jr. back to get it 1 out. Pitch number 61 from John Lester, an easy out to center. Roberts coming up. Next Saturday, there are the matchups early on Fox Sports 1. Arizona and Atlanta will roll right into the nightcap on the network. Orioles and Red Sox, Giants, Padres, the Rangers, and the Mets will be in Boston for the Baltimore Orioles and the Boston Red Sox. As a strike is poured in at the knees to Brian Roberts.
I'm looking at the race to the All-Star break. Who's going to be in front? You know, you start looking at the Dodgers are starting to put it together in L.A. And this race right here, obviously, in the East, in the American League. There's a lot of races around. What grabs your attention, Tom?
The AL East. I still don't know how to make sense of it. But I know the Red Sox, rightly so, believe they're still in the race. I'll tell you this, guys. This is game number 81 for the Red Sox. Exact halfway point in the season. And the best they could do is 7 games under at the halfway point. No one who's been 7 games under through 81 games has made the postseason in the wild card era. So even though there's some grace in this division, history is not on their side.
Lester slipped a bit after that pitch. The count even 2-2 between '98 and 2009. 10 times during those 12 years. These two teams finished 1-2 in the division in the AL East. You just marked it down at the beginning of every season, and now you look at the AL East, and Toronto's on top, Baltimore right in there, but the Red Sox sit there at 7.5 games out despite being 8 under 500. The only team out of it, it appears, because of where they are and what they have and what they seem to plan to do with regard to David Price, is Tampa Bay.
Yeah. And that surprises me that Tampa Bay would have the clarity of being a non-contender halfway through the season, where, yes, the trade of David Price seems to be a matter of time.
3 balls, 2 strikes. A lot of teams were looking at Philadelphia thinking they were going to have a chance to start picking apart that pitching staff. They're only 5 out at the start of the day. That's foul, still a full count. It's been said over and over again over the last handful of years, but especially now with the extra wild card spot, so many teams, I think, sometimes trick themselves into thinking they're still in it. They don't want to give up anybody. That's strikeout number 3 and out number 2 here in the 5th inning, and Lester is rolling. While we talk on and on about Tanaka, Lester hasn't allowed a hit through 80 games. Defending World Series champion all time, and how they've started. You saw the Marlins, the Blue Jays in '94, '93 season, the last time they were in the postseason. The Red Sox of 1919, and now this version, Boston Red Sox at 36-44. Number 4 on that list is Solarte. Checks on Bogarts, barehanded pickup. What a play, but safe as Napoli was off the bag. Great play on both ends, but Napoli could not keep his left foot on the base.
Well, it is a great play. I think he's out. On my bare eye, I thought he was out. But
I'm with you, Harold, and I think John Farrell wants him to take a look at it.
Well, what's interesting is with 2 outs at the end of the inning, this would be the 3rd out. What do they get, like 30 seconds to make their decision or something like that?
Oh, he's out.
Yeah.
He's out.
Yeah, yeah.
And John Farrell's going to get the thumbs up from the dugout to challenge it, and this will keep a no-hitter intact. I don't think there's any question the foot's on the bag on the part of Napoli, and this should keep it a 1-1 game through 5, and the Yankees hitless through 5 as we are under review. A challenge from the Red Sox. So far, John Farrell 9 of 16 in the challenge system. He should go to 10 for 17 after this. It's the right foot on the bag. Still on the bag. Ball in the glove. Solarte is out.
Yeah, that was a heck of a play from Napoli and Bogaerts to make that call. You know, I always like to go visit the umpires before the game. And it was interesting visiting with these guys today. The umpires really seemed to like replay. That was how I walked away from that with that feeling. Tom, how about you?
And this is a quick one, absolutely.
He's out. And that ends the inning. The Yankees are hitless through 5. A successful challenge from John Farrell. Let's go to the 6th inning in the Bronx, tied at 1. Multivitamin of MLB and by Burger King. Try the new BBQ Bacon Whopper sandwich only at Burger King. Game summary. It's been dominated by the pitching. Tanaka really good in tight spots. Lester 5 no-hit innings. Ross with a home run. Jeter an RBI ground out. That's it. And that was our game summary, brought to you by Moto G from Motorola, as Pedroia's first up. 1 for 2. He started trouble in the 4th inning for Tanaka with a base hit to right. Ortiz ripped a double to right. But Tanaka struck out the next 2, got a ground out. Pedroia's got his 2nd hit. This one into left center field, and Ellsbury over to cut it off. Here's a test from Pedroia. He is safe as he got around the tag. Ball beat him. Pedroia got his hand on the bag first.
This will be interesting if they challenge it. I love this play all the way around. That was basically, I'm taking you on. The swim move gets the hand around the leg before they tag it. That's going to be an interesting review.
We'll see a challenge here, I would think.
Ooh.
I think he might lose it.
Yeah, I think he might be out.
That's a very aggressive play by an aggressive player on a team that's scuffling.
Watch the left thigh of Pedroia. This is a brilliant slide. But the glove of Roberts on the left thigh, the question is, did that glove get on the left thigh before the hand gets on the bag? He tags him right there before the hand comes down on the bag. And Girardi has challenged this play. We told you what Lackey is. Joe Girardi 11 for 16 in challenges. But just the dexterity of Pedroia to not only get around the tag guys, but to stay on the bag after getting to it was as impressive.
I just love the play all the way around. It was amazing. I know they're going to make a quick call on this one.
He's out. And Pedroia is surprised to learn that he's out number 1.
Tell you what, though, he knows he looks and sees where Ellsbury's playing. He knows Jacoby. He's played with him all these years. I'm challenging you. And it had to be perfect to get him. And I love this because you're talking about an offense that needs a spark. It's a great effort. It's a great play all the way around. Stand with the tag. Joe, great call on the replay because I missed it originally. You were dead on it with the touch on the thigh. It's a good baseball play, though.
Pedroia just trying to make something happen as Ortiz grounds to Teixeira, who can walk to the bag, 2 out.
Yeah, he still can't believe it.
What he can't believe is Jacoby made that throw as well as he did.
Well, you're right. They know he doesn't have a real strong arm, and Jacoby really kind of caught the ground ball as it was rolling a little flat-footed. Didn't have the opportunity to get a lot behind it, and that influenced the decision. And again, the way the team has been scuffling, that's certainly factored into that aggressive decision as well.
Well, he went from right center to left center. Left-hander, he had to set up and throw it back the other way across his body. I mean, Jacoby made a great play. He really did to get him out a second.
Here's Napoli with 2 out, nobody on. Mike is struck out, walked. Ball took a funny hop on that throw, too, into second base. Here's the effort of Ellsbury.
I mean, that ball, he had to set up and make a perfect throw, and he had to know that he was going to be going, too. Had to be perfect to get him.
They're quick in those challenges here tonight, especially that last one. That wasn't that clear cut, but it couldn't have taken more than 30 seconds to review that thing. 2 quick strikes on Napoli. Took 28 seconds.
It's great.
It's great camera work.
Yeah, it is.
It's Mike Winters, the crew chief.
And Mike made it clear, Joe, they're still working all the kinks out, you know, and they're on top of it. It's growing, it's getting better, and we've only been 3 months into it.
Tanaka has Napoli set up, and he puts him away. Strikeout number 6. A hit in the inning. Pedroia out trying to stretch it. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Top of the order for the Yankees in a 1-1 game. Derek Jeter's final All-Star game. Should be an emotional, unforgettable night. Special coverage begins at 4:30 on Fox Sports 1, followed by the 2014 All-Star game at 7:30 Eastern on Fox. In the American League, these are the leading vote getters with Melky Cabrera, Mike Trout, Jose Bautista in right, Donaldson, Jeter, Cano, Cabrera. Wieters is out. Nelson Cruz is the DH. And hard to argue really with any of those picks by the fans, who I contend year after year do a great job of voting on the starters. There are very few arguments that you can make year to year.
You're absolutely right. Now, I was looking at the top vote getting thing where we had the graphic up there. The one that blows me away is Bautista. He's got an unbelievable following. I wouldn't have thought he'd be that guy. Trout, I get it. 3 million, whatever. You know, Jeter, 2 million plus.
Here is a 1-0 pitch in for a strike from Lester. Ken Rosenthal is with us with the upcoming All-Star game on July 15th. Kenny, what do you got down there?
Well, Joe, Harold mentioned before the All-Rosenthal team, referring to vertically challenged players. Well, I will be quite happy to see the Major League leader in hits, Jose Altuve, the American League leader in stolen bases as well. He will be in Minneapolis. He stole home last night, and it will be my honor to interview him eye to eye.
I'm glad you brought him up, because I was just looking at the numbers and had that written down. With what he's been able to do with the Houston Astros, almost in obscurity with Houston. I mean, his year is unbelievable. Hits leader, leading in average, leading in stolen bases, plays a good defensive second base. I mean, it's all there.
It's a great story. I mean, that's the great thing about baseball. You can really be virtually any size to play this game. And in fact, when he first had a tryout, the Astros sent him home. They told him he was too short. Well, you know what he did? He came back the next day. He didn't listen to him.
Here's a 2-2, chopped up the middle, and that's the first base hit of the night. For the Yankees, it comes off the bat of Gardner, leading off the sixth.
You know, we were talking to Joe Girardi about Brett Gardner and how he's really taken off the last couple of years. And he said something that was profound, that they've liked him from the beginning. They've always liked him. He's always loved the potential of this young man. But I didn't know he had the personality that he has, that he talked about, too.
Yeah, that he's the team prankster.
Well, this is an interesting situation here. Jeter's a guy who hits a lot of ground balls, and you have speed at first base. He also loves to use that hole on the right side. Lester's a guy you can run against. Only 2 caught stealings in 9 attempts this year.
Strike one on Jeter, who has an RBI ground out, and he's walked.
Well, that was the situation. He has a third baseman drawn in, and I think Derek got the cutter he wanted to pull past Bogarts at third. We've watched him do that a number of times through the years. He got his pitch.
That is a foul ball, and strike 2. Derek Jeter first came up in 1995, did everything in 1996, and we look at the face of Derek Jeter through the years. Now at the age of 40.
Wow.
Back to when he was a kid. Got his first base hit against the Mariners.
Yeah, a little ground ball past the third baseman. I only knew that because I've been looking at a bunch of video this last week on him.
0-2 the count on Jeter. One and two.
You know, Lester's done a nice job varying the times of his holds. Pitch before that one, he sort of quick pitched Derek, and this one you saw the long hold, not allowing Brett Gardner to get any kind of rhythm or timing over there at first base.
Just fought it off. To stay up there as Mick Kelleher makes a friend in the stands with that foul ball. How about this swing?
There's not many people who could foul this pitch off and hit that in that direction.
Fractured ankle that Jeter suffered in the playoffs in the 2012 season cost him basically all of last year. Played in only 17 games. Runner goes, pitch outside, throw down, they got it. as David Ross cuts down Brett Gardner for out number 1 here in the 6th.
Tell you what, this is almost like a pitch out. Look where Ross sets up and look where the ball's thrown. They knew he was running. A lot of times as a base runner, if you don't do the same thing every time, you tip yourself off. And I think Brett might have tipped himself a little bit. They set up outside. It was almost like a pitch out. They knew he was going. And look at Drew laying down, waiting for it to throw.
So now the count 2-2 on Jeter as Gardner is caught for just the 3rd time this season. Left side, base hit. And for Jeter, 3,391 career hits.
He was shooting for that hole all night. Remember the ground ball that he grounded out, drove the run in on. He was shooting it for that. And he knew he was going to be busting him in.
What'd you say, 68 at bats coming into this game against Lester lifetime. He knows his natural stroke is inside out. Lester likes to come in. He shows he can get out in front of those inside cutters and fastballs as well.
24 out of 70 against Lester lifetime is Derek Jeter. He's on with 1 out. For Ellsbury, he was grounded out twice. Jacoby ground ball, base hit right field. And Jeter will hold at second, 2 on, 1 out.
Tell you what, Brock Holt cut that ball off like he was fielding the ground ball in the infield. He cut that off. You don't see a lot of outfielders. What's the ground he covers? As you see Derek stop, lets it go by. But this ball, I mean, he's playing where a second baseman's play in the shift. That's how quick he got to that ball.
Yeah, I noticed in this series the Red Sox play right field at Yankee Stadium similar to the way they played left field at Fenway Park. Thinking if the ball's over your head, it's probably out of the park. So they actually play in a lot closer, and especially when it's the opposite field right here with Mark Teixeira.
Look how shallow he is in right field. It's incredible.
For the switch hitter up there batting right-handed, Mark Teixeira, 2 on, 1 out. Big caught stealing for the first out of the inning by Ross when he got Gardner. 2 hits followed. Ball 1 from Lester.
Harold, it almost looks like Teixeira is even farther off the plate. He's been beaten inside twice. Once on a pitch up and in for the strikeout. Once on the hands on a pop-up. His hands a little more room to work on the inside cutter.
Said only 2 home runs right-handed this year as that misses inside 2-0.
Yeah, I don't understand why hitters don't do that more. You know, you face him enough now, you know what the tendency is. Back off the plate. He's going to come back inside. Look how far Teixeira has backed up and is off the plate.
Coming back in. Nope, going away.
And a pop-up right side. That's a big out for Lester. 2 out in the inning. Runners at first and second with Carlos Beltran coming up. Count is favored. Teixeira frustrated, making the second out here in the 6th. The inning is down to Beltran, who is playing with a bone spur in his right elbow. Does not allow him to throw the ball. He's been having pain not behind the elbow but in the forearm when he's thrown it. So they've shut him down in that regard. It does not bother him, he says, swinging the bat. Steps in, hitting just .211. Year 1 of a 3-year deal. Strike 1.
Yeah, before the injury, he looked like he was just starting to get on a roll too. His swing bat had some big hits, big home runs, and then the injury hit.
Here's the 0-1. On the inside corner, Lester gets the call. Strike 2.
Wow.
Generous strike from home plate umpire Andy Fletcher. Puts Beltran in the hole. Jeter at second. Ellsbury at first. Went up to get it and fouls it back here.
Left that one out over the plate. It's a good pitch. If he's on right now, Carlos hits this ball a long ways.
Yeah, you saw how much he missed location. Ross set up inside, pitch up and away. But so far, Lester's gotten the call on this at bat on backdoor breaking ball and a front door fastball. It's a lot to cover for Beltran.
Look out.
But I can't remember the last game where I've seen so many balls pulled foul. I mean, right-handed hitters, and of course, it's, again, a testament to the way John Lester works the inside part of the plate. If you're in the Red Sox dugout, be alive.
Johnny Gomes talking it over with Mookie Betts. Check swing. He went around. The ball gets away from Ross, but not too far, and that ends the inning. Good pitchers duel as the Yankees now have stranded 4 into the 7th we go on Saturday night. Baseball night in America. Back after this from your local Fox station. Celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit MLB.com for details. We go into the 7th inning. Bottom part of the order, Drew, Bogarts, and Bradley. Anybody gets on, the only guy who has plated a run for the Red Sox, David Ross, with a home run back in the 3rd in a 1-1 game. Stephen Drew has struck out twice. Now 7 out of 54 since coming back to the active roster. As we check in down below with Ken Rosenthal.
Well, Joe, the whole point of Drew waiting to sign until after the amateur draft and signing a 1-year contract was so that he could become an unrestricted free agent, would not be tied to draft pick compensation. Well, great idea, but if he's going to struggle to this extent, you have to wonder if that strategy is going to backfire, because at some point he needs to raise his value again. He comes into this at bat hitting just 130.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a gamble that hasn't worked in any way. He comes back to the Red Sox. He gets paid less money after sitting out the first part of the year. He's a free agent to be again, and He's not showing anything heading into free agency if he doesn't pick it up.
Well, baseball's such a touch and feel game. And I've always believed that you can't make up for the time that you missed in this game. You just can't do it. And as great as Derek Jeter's been, we've watched him struggle till now he's starting to get in stride. It's just a game of rhythm that's tough to do. And he's going to continue to have this uphill battle, he being Steven.
Pops it up left side. Solarte is looking for help and now has to drift back and make the play 1 out. Batter will be Bogaerts.
Now we'll take a look here at Tanaka's delivery. He's a traditional drop and drive pitcher. By that I mean watch his body sink down on his back legs and then drive towards the plate. Watch that back knee, how low it will get to the ground. You don't see a lot in today's game. Today's American-style pitchers are more along the lines of tall and fall. Taller pitchers who use the leverage of longer levers to pitch on downhill planes. It's more of an old-school baseball approach by Tanaka. It's something that's much more similar or familiar in Japan than it is over here. In Japan, they really use their lower half much more than the pitchers here do in the States.
You think that's maybe why Japanese pitchers don't get hurt as often as American pitchers do?
Boy, if you can get the answer to that one, Harold, you're going to make a lot of money. That's the great mystery. Why do pitchers get hurt?
Strike 1 on Bogaerts. Here's a guy who never got hurt, seemingly.
Well, he's the definition of drop and drive. Watch the back leg, and that knee is going to hit the ground. Yes, it was the telltale sign for Tom Seaver, the franchise, to have that dark spot of dirt on the right knee.
There's the night for Tanaka. Got a long stride as he steps to the plate and delivers. It turns into a foul ball off the bat of Bogaerts, strike 2.
And that's why a lot of the scouts had said that his fastball was not his best pitch because it's hard for him to create an angle, a downward depth on the fastball. There's the similarities here. That back leg, really using the legs, the lower half, the long stride. It's difficult for Tanaka because he has a lower release point to create a downward angle on his fastball.
2-2.
See, I believe that he doesn't have to have 95 because his split is that tough to pick up. I mean, if he's 90, 91, 92, and he's still throwing that split, it is that hard to hit because you have to react as a hitter and read. The problem is his arm angle is basically the same on all his pitches. So you have to make that decision real quick on the arm angle. And when he's throwing 92 is hard enough to get by anybody.
That's hard hit, but right at Jeter, 2 out.
Yeah, I agree with you. In that 91, even 90, that's plenty hard enough for Tanaka. I think the fact that the split is so good and he throws it so often. People in today's game just don't throw the split this often. I mean, basically 1 of every 4 pitches, if not sometimes higher, is going to be a split. And nobody has done that in the major leagues as a starting pitcher since Curt Schilling about 8 or 9 years ago. So hitters just don't see the split that often, and of course that good.
Here's Jackie Bradley Jr., who is 0 for 2. He's hit the ball hard twice, not this time. Got under it. That's Jeter. You can put it in the books. Time to stretch. Here at Yankee Stadium, Tanaka has been outstanding. Lester right there with him. A total of 8 hits in the game. The Red Sox have 5 of them. Yankees coming to bat. Bottom of the 7th. Spectacular pitching tonight. We're tied at 1.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. That I might have been given a bad break, but I've got an awful lot to live for.
The great Lou Gehrig, the Iron Horse, on July 4th. It'll be the 75th anniversary of that speech, and all Major League players will wear that patch that you see to the left. Hall of Fame inductee, Triple Crown winner in 1934. The interesting part about that speech, fans at that time had no idea that the situation for Lou Gehrig was as serious as it was, that he was dying. There's some ambiguity as to whether even Lou Gehrig at that point knew how dire his situation was. And so baseball will honor the great Lou Gehrig this July 4th, the 75th anniversary of that speech at Old Yankee Stadium.
Probably the greatest speech in baseball history, and it's actually one of the great American speeches. Just take baseball out of it.
Soriano will step in for the Yankees. Bottom of the 7th inning, tied at 1. Tanaka and Lester. Soriano 0 for 2 tonight.
What's interesting, while we got to pause here for a second, Soriano in his stance already. Look how close he stands to the plate. Now, we've watched him repeatedly foul balls off into the Red Sox dugout behind him. Look, if you know he's going to throw you in, back up. He's hanging over the plate. I mean, it's incredible. He's up in front and hanging over the plate.
That hits the inside part, strike 1.
But hitters become habits. You know, they get creatures of habit. And look at Teixeira, opened up and back off the plate. And look at Soriano.
He hits that one foul, strike 2.
Don't be afraid to make an adjustment. Again, you know you're going to go in. You saw Teixeira back off the plate in his last at bat. Tom, you pointed that out. And look at Soria, and I keep saying, hey, if he's going to bust you in, back up.
Leading it off in the 7th inning, he flies one into center. Bradley is there, and plenty of time, 1 out.
Well, right turn back to the dugout.
John Lester's been so good tonight. When we had that shot of Teixeira there, and Joe, you pointed this out on that 2-0 pitch, a huge pitch in the game. He got him out of the way, right? I mean, he's shown that he can use both sides of the plate with just about any pitch tonight.
Well, here's McCann. Homered last night, his 9th of the season. Takes a strike. Next pitch will be number 95 on the night for John Lester, who has really dialed it in now over his last 7 starts. The count evens, 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, I was talking to a few of the Braves players. We saw them in Washington last weekend, and they were talking with McCann about the shift. He hadn't seen the shift like he saw early in the year. Now I look at the Red Sox, they're not shifted quite as much as they were. Remember, the second baseman would be in deep right field, and the shortstop was over on the second base side. He hasn't seen that as of late, but early in the year it really messed him up because he hadn't seen a shift like that before.
Set up here. Lester has struck out 4 tonight, and he's going to make McCann back out of there.
Yeah, and I think, again, that's a function of Lester, the left-handed pitcher, who likes to work the ball on the glove side.
A strikeout for out number 2. And the 5th of the night for John Lester. Tonight's game on Fox, sponsored by the new comedy Tammy from Warner Brothers Pictures, in theaters July 2nd. And by the new Samsung Galaxy S5. The next big thing is here. Night has fallen on New York. 2 out here in the bottom of the 7th inning, and the batter will be Brian Roberts. Longtime Baltimore Oriole, first year with the Yankees, and he's got the base hit into center with 2 out. And the 4th hit of the night for New York.
Nice piece of hitting right there. A little fastball right back up the middle.
And if nothing else, that gets the number 9 man out of the way here in the 7th inning. Solarte. And Hervey's has been hit by a pitch, grounded out. Waits for the first from John Lester. Talk about where would the Yankees be without Tanaka and what he's done this year. Where would the Yankees be without Solarte and what he did early in the year as the Yankees were trying to find a replacement for Alex Rodriguez over at third.
First 2 months of the season was just outstanding and consistent.
Jammed a bit, little pop up out into shallow right. Pedroia is there, and we go 1-1 into the 8th inning. Lester, Tanaka, a lot of pitching. Yankees and Red Sox tied through 7. To our little booth. I'm Joe. That's Harold. That's Tom. The pitching's been awesome. We've seen Lester dominate. We've seen Tanaka dominate when he's had to dominate.
Hey, this is like Tanaka himself. Better than advertised, right? We thought going in, great pitchers duel. It's been better than advertised.
I'll tell you, the one inning when he was able to pitch through it, I just thought not only the stuff, but the intelligence. Clearly pitching around Napoli, and then going ahead and getting out of that inning, and then coming back and pitching through it after second and third, no outs.
That time he had to go get Napoli, struck him out, struck out Drew, struck out, or rather got Bogarts on a ground out. Later struck out Napoli again. He's got 6 on the night. That was his last one that happened 2 innings ago in the 6th inning, and now he's got an 0-2 count on David Ross. There's Lester on the right, and there are the 2 pitching lines. Unearned run scoring against Lester. That's out of play right side. Lester's at 100 pitches on the nose, and Tanaka is coming up on 100 for his night.
Yeah, it's going to be who's going to blink first. Might be what would come down to. All said and done, I still like the Red Sox bullpen a little bit better.
We'll get into that in a second. Here comes an 0-2 pitch from Tanaka. A late swing and a foul straight back. Well, if if you like the bullpen better for the Boston Red Sox, you at least have to acknowledge that one of the real strengths, and it wasn't seemingly going to be that coming out of spring training with Rivera gone, and there were a lot of unknowns down in the bullpen for the Yankees. I think they've been better and more consistent than anybody could have ever thought coming into the year.
Big reason for that is Dellin Betances. What a weapon and strikeout machine he has turned out to be.
Popped up on the infield. Teixeira says he's got it. One away. 1 for 3 tonight is David Ross.
Yeah, they did have some question marks, no doubt. You had no idea what Robertson was going to do in that closer role, if he was going to be able to be that guy that they could rely on.
Adam Warren's been good. Sean Kelly's been good. There's Brian Cashman, who had Kenny Chesney sitting up in his luxury suite moments ago.
There he is.
There's Kenny.
Kenny's a big baseball fan.
Yeah, a big sports fan.
Yeah.
1 out, nobody on. The batter is Holton. That's strike 1. Brock has a double. How about our Kenny Rosenthal, who, talking about Brian Cashman, called Tanaka number 3 starter when they signed him. Was that just to take the pressure off?
It actually wasn't, Joe. And the Yankees projected Tanaka as a number 3 for a championship level club, maybe a number 2. Cashman told me that other teams saw him the same way, and that the thing that has surprised him most about Tanaka is that he is a true number 1. And we see him tonight pitching into the 8th inning. And Tom has touched on this in his writing and on the broadcast. Think of all the things that Tanaka has had to adjust to coming to the major leagues. Harder mounds, bigger, less sticky balls, smaller strike zones, less rest between starts, deeper lineups. It's pretty impressive what he has done.
Here comes his 1-1. That's outside, 2-1. Yeah, I don't think people realize that in Japan the starters pitch once a week. And it did factor in to some degree with regard to Joe Girardi getting him an extra day, and he'll try to do that the rest of the way.
Less travel. Think about Japan. It's not that big, so you're not traveling all around the country.
Here's a fly ball into left. Easy for Gardner. 2 out.
The ball is smaller, so you look at that and then look at these notable rookie starts. The only thing I have with Tanaka over the other guys is that he's still pitched in a pretty good professional league before he signed and came over here.
Yeah, Dwight Gooden was a teenager. Fernando, 20 years old. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he has that ace look and stuff as a polished pitcher. We've seen it tonight, guys. You talked about this, Joe, in that sequence, 2nd, 3rd, nobody out. That's a guy who loves the big moments, loves the big stages. And the Yankees knew that, and they've been rewarded with the kind of performance he's seen in tough situations. He likes this rivalry. There's no doubt that, to me, the bigger the game, the better he's going to pitch.
2 out, nobody on. Batter is Nava, ball 1.
The thing that threw me is how these guys not project him a 1. We've watched Ichiro come over here and tear it up. We've watched some guys come over from Japan. He was far above everybody else.
Well, a lot of the comparisons were to Yu Darvish, and he has turned out to be a 1, but I wouldn't say he was a 1 his first year over here because of some of those traditions that Kenny Rosenthal alluded to.
That's a lot of money to invest in a 3. $175 million in a 3?
Well, that was a situation the Yankees were in, and they're still looking for pitching. Starting rotation help as we make our way toward the trading deadline. You wonder, with regard to David Price, the star left-hander for the Tampa Bay Rays, if the Rays would trade Price within the division. The Yankees would be interested. Do they have A, the prospects to land a guy like Price, and B, could they even get him?
That's certainly not their preference. They would much prefer, if they trade him, to send him to the other league.
Crowd wants another strikeout. It would be the 7th. And they get it. Total control, Tanaka. 7 strikeouts on the night. Bottom of the 8th inning rolls in. Top of the order coming up for the Yankees. Tied at 1. Moto G from Motorola, and by the all-new 2015 Honda Fit. The new Fit is a great fit for you. Fans follow every game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.TV game of the day, and more. Download the app at the App Store or visit MLB.com today. We move into the bottom of the 8th inning. Top of the order for the Yankees. Lester back to work. As you said a moment ago, Harold, who blinks first? Tanaka got through an uneventful top of the 8th, and now Lester has his work cut out with Gardner, Jeter, and Ellsbury coming up in the bottom half for the Yankees. That skips in, a ball and a strike as Andrew Miller, the big left-hander, starts to get loose.
Well, I look around. I look at the infield. You got Xander Bogaerts all the way in against the left-handed hit Gardner. He might shoot a ball that way. We saw him go back up the middle with the base hit last time.
Jammed here, fouls it back. Strike 2.
We were talking, Joe, about the last 6 outings for Lester and how he's figured it out. He's using both sides of the plate. He's really stayed with his bread and butter. You know, hitting hard with the cutter and the fastball away, as Tom would say, the glove side, away from lefties into righties.
Set up inside. Gardner fights it off. Gardner with a single was caught stealing in the 6th inning. Dropped down a good bunt that led to a run in the 3rd. He's 1 for 2. 2-2.
It's been a strange game for Lester because it looked like early on he really was fighting himself. Every pitch, he's arguing with the ump a little bit. You know, it just didn't look like he was in rhythm and in sync. You wouldn't think he's had this great of a game, but he's pitched phenomenal.
Only allowed a run on 4 hits, no earned runs. That's outside. full count.
And it's 2 times in a row he missed with that breaking ball, with that curveball. He's had a good feel for it today, and obviously the confidence to double up with it. Now most likely to go back to the old bread and butter, the cutter. Huge pitch right here.
Broken bat.
Wow, got in on him right there.
Foul ball to keep it a full count as this one went right off the hands.
He is literally over the plate when he swings. His hands are over the plate. I love that shot. Did you see how close he was to the plate? His hands were over the plate when he went to swing. He's taken away that inside pitch.
3-2 delivery is inside, a leadoff walk, and that's walk number 2 on the night, and the first since the first for Lester. And John Farrell's wondering how much longer he'll go with John Lester.
Yeah, that's the first sequence of pitches where it just looked like a little bit of fatigue, just not quite as sharp on the breaking balls that missed, and obviously missed by a lot with the 3-2 fastball.
Well, if you got the courage to stand that close as a lefty, because you know he's not going to locate in. Now we got a great situation here. You know, we got, again, we've seen Derek hit 2 balls into that 5 hole. One was kicked by Drew, and the other one there, the base hit. If he can shoot it past the third baseman, will he bunt for a hit first pitch? You watch Gardner get thrown out. It's all good.
This is where he does like to bunt for a hit. It's a semi-sacrifice.
Got the outside part of the plate, strike 1. John Farrell does have Miller about ready in the bullpen, but I think the way Lester is, there'd be a fight on the mound if he went out there to get the ball from John Lester over the next 2 hitters.
Absolutely right. You know, the frustration on Derek, you look for one ball to shoot to the right side. Now he might try to bunt and move him up.
He leans back from ball 1 up and in.
Watch him dive to go out and get it.
This will be pitch number 111 for John Lester, his season high 122. April 22nd at Toronto.
Did you hit and run? That's a play that's been lost in the game today, right?
And my only issue with that is he's missed by a lot in the last few pitches. Normally you do that with a guy you know is going to be around the plate.
Just missed. 2-1.
He's staring in for that one. That one stayed outside, didn't come back over the outside corner. No pitch. Looks like he may have got a piece of it. No pitch changes in at bat more than the 1-1 pitch. The difference between 2-1 and 1-2, the biggest in baseball.
And now Ross will go out and talk to Lester.
Well, the reason being, Tom, because you can have a hit and run. As a base runner, you're going to get a pitch to run on. As a hitter, I would be able to still focus on one pitch that I want to hit. So it becomes an offensive pitch. A lot of things the offense can do. It's a great point you pointed out, though. It is the biggest change from that 1-1 pitch.
Jeter with a count in his favor. Takes outside 3-1.
Third 3-1 count tonight with Derek.
Yeah, it's a danger pitch right here. Certainly does look like that gas tank is getting down a little bit here. The red light's coming on. He needs to execute a pitch in a hitter's count.
Here's a 3-1. Ground ball to Pedroia. Nice stop. The flip out. Got them both. Brilliantly turned by Pedroia straight out of the glove to Stephen Drew, 2 out.
That's why you like to see a guy run on 3-1, because you're going to get a pitch to hit. And he doesn't run, you're susceptible, and Tommy talked about it, hits a lot of double plays. There's a double play ball. Great play by Pedroia, no doubt. Out of the glove, the flip. If you go to the hand and flip it, it gives the runner another 2 steps. To get rid of it and to transfer from Drew, this is beautiful defense. But I like to see the guy on 3-1 run. If he's running on that play, you're not getting a double play.
Well, now Ellsbury with 2 out, nobody on. And you certainly know better than the two of us, Harold, how hard it is to flip it straight out of the glove, because you just don't know how that thing's going to come out.
You're absolutely right. Sometimes you can get it caught in the web, and other times you got it in the hand, in the glove. That's a play you got to work on a lot, and nobody works that stuff more than Dustin. But he gets it. See the flip? It's almost like an extension of your hand. It rolls up the glove and ends up getting a little more arc maybe than he wanted.
Second straight hit for Ellsbury, and he's on here in the 8th with Teixeira coming up.
Don't you get the feeling that Pedroia leaves everything on the field every night?
No doubt. I have not enjoyed watching a player more than I have Dustin Pedroia over the years since he's come up. And at the beginning of his time, when he came up as a rookie, we talked about this plenty when I was sitting here with Tim. Terry Francona was like, who is this guy? He wasn't hitting anything. He was a little guy, and it didn't take long for Terry to figure out just how good Dustin Pedroia was in his rookie year, and eventually an MVP in the American League in 2008. There's a strike.
I think if anybody can pick the pocket of somebody to steal a bag, it's Jacoby Ellsbury. He is great at picking pitches, and he almost broke right there, but his percentage is incredible.
You got a quick pitch right there, because Jacoby is a great base stealer who likes to steal early in the count, first or second pitch. We talked about Lester doing a great job changing delivery times. And Jacoby had just gotten off the base to take his lead.
There goes Ellsbury, pitches a ball, throw down, no good, into center field. Ellsbury on his way to third with 2 out. But they're going to say now a late strike 3 call at the plate. And Teixeira can't believe it. That was a late call by Andy Fletcher. And Joe Girardi's going, what's the call? But that was strike 3 on the pitch. And forget the stolen base. Let's take another look. The pitch is a good one.
That is a good one.
Fletcher rings him up, but the attention and focus went out to second base. There's the late strike 3 call, and the inning is over as the 8th finishes with a strikeout, the 6th of the night for John Lester. We go to the 9th inning. This pitching duel continues. Tied at 1.
look at this right here. A lot of times the catcher blocks the umpire off. He makes the call right there immediately. He'd already called it as soon as the ball was released, but he'd made his determination. I thought it was a good call, and Joe, I know you did too because you called it right away.
Well, I thought the pitch was good. I think you can tell by Teixeira's reaction that he wasn't aware he was called out at the plate until after the play was over. Here's Pedroia leading it off. Tanaka back to work in the 9th inning and a strike. We'll hear the audio as we work in the 9th inning of a 1-1 game. Pedroia, Ortiz, and Napoli. Joe Girardi came out to argue, but it was strike 3 called on the pitch by Andy Fletcher. That's strike 2. Here it is.
Strike 3.
You can hear him verbally say strike 3 before he gives the signal of strike 3, and that's why Girardi was surprised that his first baseman Teixeira was out.
Yeah, I think Mark didn't hear that call because he seemed to be surprised. The one guy not surprised, John Lester.
Tanaka with an 0-2 count on Pedroia, who has a couple of hits. It stays 0-2.
And the reason he wants to make a quick call too is for that catcher to know that it's over, and or it's not. If the catcher doesn't hear anything, he knows that he's throwing down and it's clearly no call. But also Tim McClellan's you. You know, Tim does that. He'll give you the quick call, but he'll delay you with the call as you see it reactionally, audibly quick, and then he shows it late.
Here comes an 0-2 pitch from Tanaka. That's in the air to center, and the 3rd hit of the night for Pedroia, who made that outstanding play on the double play ball off the bat of Jeter in the bottom of the 8th.
Now, this is a split that stays up. Doesn't tumble out of the zone for Pedroia. See him go down and get it. The previous 2 pitches that Tanaka threw, both of them, he turned around, looked to center field, shook his head, was not happy with the execution of either one of the previous 2, and certainly that one as well did not end up where he wanted it.
There's David Ortiz with a shift on the infield and in the outfield, playing him to pull. Go ahead, run at first, nobody out in the 9th. Hard hit. That's a 1-hop. Good play for the double play.
Well, that's a great play by Solarte.
Solarte was on the other side of the bag, and he let it bounce.
Yeah, because he could have taken another step further and got it.
Probably the only way they get the double play, and Tanaka appreciative of Solarte getting the short hop and the double play. 2 out, nobody on in the 9th.
See, he's learning English quick too. Yes, yes.
I love his mannerisms on the mound, his poise, the emotions, everything that you get out of Tanaka besides the stuff.
Here's Napoli, who's got 9 home runs. You got Napoli here. You've got a struggling Stephen Drew on deck, and if you're Tanaka, looked like he pitched around Napoli back in the 2nd. This would be a spot to do it again if you fall behind.
Totally agree. I think you got to nibble, and you make Stephen Drew have to beat you.
Yeah, again, you saw the reaction. That's the 3rd time this inning. He has turned around, shook his head. He's not happy because he opened up a little too early with the front side, and that left the ball up.
He got away with one,
Watch
too.
Watch that reaction. He knows he had shaken off the fastball to throw that slider and knew he did not execute the pitch the way he wanted.
Well, Napoli's got one thing in mind. He knows the offense is struggling behind him. He's looking to put this in the lead. You got Koji warming up. Game over.
One ball, 1 strike, 2 out, nobody on. Now Tanaka is 1 good pitch away from his 8th strikeout and 9 full innings.
Yeah, go back to the trusty splitter.
And how about the adjustment he made? We saw him telling himself, get the ball down, get the arm in the right angle, and he makes the adjustment on the fly. And Joe talked about that.
In the air to right. Back is Soriano. It's gone. Home run Napoli. And the Red Sox take a 2-1 ninth inning lead. With 2 strikes, Napoli got one good enough and flipped it out into right. And the Red Sox lead it 2-1 in the top of the ninth.
Well, it's the hardest pitch he threw all night. And it was his biggest mistake. He shook to get to the fastball. Tried to find that A+ fastball late in the game, had the velocity, but not the location.
Well, it's the right ballpark, too. Look at this swing, though. He had one thing on his mind. Let's go deep.
Now Stephen Drew with 2 out, nobody on. Drew takes a ball up and away. Front row. The seats right over the right field wall. And the reaction by Tanaka, who's given up 2 home runs tonight, shows his surprise. That's the second home run Napoli's hit off Tanaka this season. The frustration for Masahiro. John Lester now has a 2-1 lead, and he will give way to Uehara.
I'm sorry, it's just bad pitching. You can't challenge him in this situation. I've watched Lester beat Verlander in the postseason. Remember that a couple times? He's just got too much experience, and that was a great piece of hitting. Can't miss it.
1-2 on Drew, who is now 0 for 4 tonight. But Tanaka, when he got to 2 strikes on Napoli, was brought back into the zone, looking to end the top of the ninth with Mike Napoli. Instead, Napoli unties it with his 10th of the year, his second off Tanaka. And with that, the Red Sox, who were undefeated when leading after 8 this season, lead tonight on Baseball Night in America, 2-1. No earned runs, 5 hits, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks. A hit batsman. Now Koji Uehara, who has blown 1 save in 17 opportunities. That one blown save, and he's had some trouble during the day. He's 10 for 10 in save chances at night. And he'll try to save it for John Lester and keep the Red Sox perfect. They're 28-0 when leading after 8. They lead it 2-1. Here in the bottom of the ninth, Beltran first up. He's 0 for 3 tonight. It was a week ago last night that Beltran won a ball game with a home run off the Orioles. A home run here would tie it. Uehara with a 2-homer appearance earlier in this trip, and there's the good splitter from Koji, strike 2.
See, Beltran's going to have a difficult time with that split. He's one of the guys that's going to get on top of the ball. If you look at
that's out number 1, and a good start to the ninth inning for Koji Uehara.
What I mean by that is he's got an approach to take from the top of the swing to go down and get on top of that baseball. And you look at the difference with Ellsbury or with Pedroia, he is swinging up, and so is Napoli. They swing up and they can dig that splitter out of the ground.
Now Ichiro will dig in for Alfonso Soriano. So we've seen Tanaka. His work tonight. We've seen Lester hand it off to Uehara. Ichiro batting for that man Soriano.
Wow.
Joe Girardi wanting a left-handed swinger up against Uehara, and he tries to guide one into center. Instead, it's Bradley Jr. for out number 2.
He glides in center field, doesn't he?
He really does.
Wow. If you're not going to hit, you got to catch it. And he's made great adjustments on the offensive side. He's starting to come around, but defensively, he's been great.
Last chance for the Yankees, Brian McCann, who I'm sure will be asked about the pitch selection at Napoli after this game. On that fastball with 2 strikes in the top of this ninth inning, 2 out, and Stephen Drew on deck.
I'm still shaking my head about it, and I bet you Brian McCann is too.
Here's the 0-1.
Well, what's interesting is he shook him off twice. At the end of the day, it's the pitcher's call. He's going to throw what he wants. But if it was somebody else, he might speak the same language. We might have seen him walk out there and go, hold on, let's think about this.
Here's a 1-1. Well, that's just outside, 2-1.
2 strikes and 2 outs, nobody on base. You're almost defending the home run. And the one pitch he can hit out is the fastball. Tanaka not allowed a home run on a split all year. Batters hitting 121 against that split, and he went away from it.
Out in front of it is McCann. He's been catching the splitter all night. Now he's trying to hit a splitter, and he missed it by plenty.
That's almost lights out when Koji gets going, and he's in a great groove.
On this trip, Uehara had that 1-year anniversary since he took over as closer. He has been brilliant. One good pitch away from ending, and he's done it. Red Sox win it 2-1. And they do it on the strength of 2 home runs and great pitching from Lester and Uehara for the save. Home run Ross early. Home run Napoli there late. And the Red Sox win it 2-1 here at Yankee Stadium.
What a great pitching duel. It came down to who's going to blink. And you talk about 2 home runs with the difference in this game. But great pitching, too. What a game.
So it's Mike Napoli who swings the bat and brings us the Burger King play of the day, brought to you by Burger King. 2 out, nobody on, 2 strikes, fastball, goodbye. Home run number 10 is a game winner for Mike Napoli here at Yankee Stadium. It gives Lester the win, his 9th of the season, and presents Uehara the chance for the save, and he picks it up. And we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll take you to the studio for post-game coverage. What a game here tonight. Uehara threw that final pitch. Great pitching all night. Lester for the Red Sox, the winner. Tanaka, the loser. He went a full 9. take a break. Studio on the other side as the Red Sox have set up the rubber game tomorrow night with a 2-1 win tonight.